So we just wanted to touch on a few of your more recent projects, and by recent, I'm actually going to start in 2000. But can you just give us your memory of working on Becker?
Becker, scary, because I hadn't done a half-hour comedy. And I had turned down Kelsey Grammer's, and I think, oh, I don't know if I can do that in front. But I went on. Ted Danson was terrific. It was a fun role. And, they change moment to moment. If the joke doesn't work, boom, they're rewriting. And there's 15 writers walking from set to set. That one didn't work, and we're going to change it. So it was scary, but again, go toward the fear. And it was fun, and I loved it. And Ted Danson, again, I worked with him on CSI not too long ago. So he's, he's done it all. It's good to work with actors that are just, they cover the bases, and they've done it all. They've done comedy, they've done drama, and,
If you turned down others, why did you pick that one?
I just thought it was time to practice what I preach, go toward the fear. I need to do that on the stage. Life sort of interferes sometimes. Family's always going to win out right now, but I need to sometimes get back on the stage. I've been offered some things and just not able to go and commit to New York right now. But I love the stage, and I just think, oh, no, gosh, it's really different than film.
And talk a little bit about The District.
The District, I was on an airplane, and Denise Stanovi saw me and said, called me up, will you come and be a semi-regular on the show? Will you do a show? First, will you do a show? And then they kept writing me in, and Craig T. Nelson, again, probably is one of the best actors I've ever worked with, because not only does he, make the moment work and rewrite and improvise, I mean, he has, it has to be excellent. I mean, if he feels he's left a stone unturned, rap, no, it didn't matter how long it takes. So I love doing The District. I loved working with him. It was at a time where, I had sort of, I had been diagnosed with breast cancer. So, knock on wood, I'm 10 years out. But got me thinking about something else other than breast cancer. So, and he was challenging. You had to be on your toes to keep up with him. He would change it on a dime and rewrite it, and you'd memorized it, and hey, nope, we new words, new thoughts here. So it was a great cast, and he was just the high point of that. Yeah.
And then in 2004, you were on Hope and Faith.
Hope and Faith with Robert Wagner as his love interest. And again, half-hour comedy, different, fun, just great to be back with RJ. And on a sweet show. It was a different type of, there's Becker, and Hope and Faith was even a broader comedy. With Becker, there was the element of, or where comedy came out of the reality. It seemed Hope and Faith, it was almost slapstick at times, it was a very broad comedy. But I liked doing it, and my character was more subdued in the sense that I was brought in to be Robert Wagner's love interest.
In 2007, you took a turn doing reality TV on the show Sheer Genius.
Sheer Genius.
So how did that come about?
It came about after presenting at the Emmys, and they came up to me, Bravo, and said, we want you to do this show called Sheer Genius. And I had seen Project Runway, and I thought, reality isn't my thing, but when it's based on talent, as the designers were. And I thought, oh, well, hairdressing, certainly my first big role came from a Breck commercial, and hair has certainly been a part of my career. And I certainly have a handle on what I feel about hair and what's good about hair and what's bad about hair. So I thought, yeah, I can bring something to this. And I did, and I enjoyed it. And I learned a lot from reality TV. But it was interesting, but again, it wasn't my passion. So I did it 2 seasons and then moved on. There's nothing like getting into a good script with a director, a writer, and going on to a set that's lit and transforms you to another place. So, but I mean, it was challenging. It was somewhat heartbreaking to see these young stylists really go through impossible feats. You know, they really didn't have the time to do what was demanded of them. But I love talent, and that was the best part of doing Sheer Genius, seeing all these young people come together and really pour their hearts out into their art form. And so that would be the best part of Sheer Genius.
Were you surprised that Tabitha Coffey became kind of a breakout star after that? Or
Well, she almost got disqualified the first show, the first segment. They almost said toodaloo. So I was very surprised. So
Why
you never
was that?
know. Well, I mean, I think the first one was hair art. Or I'm not sure if it was hair art or one right before hair art, but they didn't like what she did. And we were, our judging was blindfolded. So we really didn't know. Sorry. So our first show was, the first season we judged blindfolded. So there was no bias. There was no, okay, you know, that does enter in. When you like somebody and you know what they're capable of, you might think, oh, well, they didn't really mean to put that layer there, or they can do better. That's not the way it's supposed to go. So I really felt the first season was the way we should always blindfold, not know who did what. And, you know, she was, I mean, last in that first segment. And so you never know. Never give up. You never know what's going to come. Because, I mean, she's been very successful.
And you said you learned a lot from from doing reality TV. What did you learn?
Well, it's not reality. Yeah, it's not always reality. You know, I just think sometimes things are sort of good TV, bad TV, manipulated. People get biased, and I'm against that. So I'm not saying always, but, you know, spontaneity is truly what it should be. And, I mean, it should be the moment, and it should be, you know, judged in the proper way. And many times it is, but there are those moments where, you know, your bias interferes with the outcome.
And have you been approached about doing other reality TV shows?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Any interest?
Not right now. No, none has sparked my interest. Mm-mm. No.
In 2009, you were part of Farrah's story. Mm-hmm. Can you just talk a little bit about that and why it was important for you to be involved?
Well, I admired her. I admired her strength, her courage. I admired that she wanted to do this film to help other people. And I was her friend. I was her girlfriend. And we'd been through a lot. And we have sort of a common history in our love of Texas, our love of our parents. My husband's a doctor. We got involved in her treatment choices. But I think ultimately people choose their own path, which she did. And boy, she never gave up. She never gave up. And she truly thought with each new step she would be cured. And, you know, anything I could do to help her or to, you know, enlighten people, I would do for her. I really would. I think once you, well, I can't even say that, you know, once you hear a diagnosis, I mean, certainly when you hear a diagnosis, you have breast cancer, it sort of changes your thinking or puts you on a different way on the earth, you know? It's like, I mean, and Farrah was that too. I mean, she had this easy upbringing, easy life, everything came her way. So you don't think of her. You don't even think of her handling her disease like she did. You think she would be a little more, poor me. But she never, you know, she kept battling it. And she had such a perseverance to to get well and to do what was right. And I just think, I was happy I could be close to her when she was going through this. And there were some moments I'll never forget that were so close and so real, and just happy I could be there for her.
You also, in 2010, participated in One a Minute. Mm-hmm. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, I think, that's... Celebrities need to do that. They need to tell their story. They need to get out there. I think people listen to celebrities because they feel they know them. They somewhat look up to them, or they've seen them on TV. You've been in their living rooms. You think, okay, let me tell you my side of this. Let me open your eyes. Let me make you aware. Let's send this forward. Let's get more medical research happening, because that's the only way we're going to make progress, and that's the only way we're going to find the cures. And, as you get older, you're really much more aware of it because your friends are getting sick. And you realize, gosh, being married to a doctor, I truly understand medical research and the importance of it. Look how far we came with AIDS. And that's because the film industry got behind it. And people are living with AIDS, and they understand. And, that's the way it'll be with maybe, cancer or heart disease. Or, we make progress, but we need to make more. And the only way to make more is through medical research. Yeah. And people need to put their money there. They need to give back.
Yeah. In 2010, you also were on Law and Order, Special Victims Unit. So what's your memory of that experience?
Again, challenging, going there. Oh, wow, this role seems hard for me. But again, I got into it. It was New York City, one of my favorite cities, if not my favorite city. And, Dick Wolf, who I love. And I'd go there, and I just sort of, boom, jumped in. And you couldn't have had a more supportive cast. And, it was... I saw the role a little differently than the director. But, of course, you go with a director, and she wanted... they have a formula on Law and Order. So maybe less is more. No, more is more, The more drama, the more histrionics, the more... you put into the role. And it works. It's such a successful show. So I love doing it.
And what about CSI?
CSI, again, it was a lighter role and a fun role. And, it was just great to see Ted, Wally Langham. They were all, just so welcoming. I think the great thing about actors, they're open. Most of them, I find, are open and approachable, and they embrace individuals. And I remember getting on a plane, and Mary Tyler Moore was on, and I had never met her, and I'd watched her for many years. Jaclyn, Mary, and I'm like, oh wow, I know who you are. And she just couldn't have been nicer. And it was on an airline where they don't have it anymore, but it was like a certain plane where you had cabins, and she bought a cabin for her dogs. So I immediately loved her because I'm a dog lover. So these big dogs, Dobermans, were having filet mignon, and they were in the back, and she was in the front. Mary Tyler Moore, she's something. Yeah.
That's a great story. So obviously we touched on such a small portion of your career. Are there any other roles that you want to mention that we didn't talk about?
Gosh, no. You've talked about a lot. I must say, you forget a lot of roles. I did a role with Corbin Burnson, and what was the name of it, Claire? I can't think of the name of the movie, but again, he was a ghost, and it was it was a romantic comedy, something you don't see on TV. That was a departure. That was fun. They come and they go, and they're all a part of your history, and you love them. And I've been fortunate to keep working, and I love my work. I love being challenged. I've gone in a lot of different directions because of my acting career, as you know, with my branding before people were branding. So, I feel fortunate. I feel like a lucky girl, a beautiful family.
And what are your current projects?
Well, again, ongoing. I'm reading a script now, which I don't want to talk about until, and constantly working on Kmart, which is ongoing throughout the year. My fabric line for Trend, my wigs, and we're going in another whole direction for that. And then, of course, the skincare that my husband, developed for me, which I feel is really a wonderful product, and I think women will love. So, again, if you can give back and do it in the proper way and be aware of who your customer is and what you can give to them, I think it's important.
What do you think your fans would be surprised to know about you?
That I'm a little crazy. That I have OCD? No. That I have, what would they... I like to laugh. I'm kind of a, jokester too. I like to, make, do funny little things with people. I think as serious as I appear, I'm also kind of... I'm a joker. I like to joke and surprise people. I think that, until you really get to know somebody, there's always surprises in a character, My kids, they'd probably describe me in another whole way, that she's very protective, a little controlling, and you learn as they get older, you do have to sort of pull away a little and not, it's in God's hands, and you got to just pour your blessings on them. You can't, that's the great thing when they're little. You can decide what they wear and what they're going to eat and where they're going, and then all of a sudden they're out there, and there your heart goes. And, so I worry. I maybe don't need to worry. So they, as easy as things look, every life has the ups and downs and arounds, but it's all good. It's all really good. But I think people sometimes look at celebrities and think, boy, they got it together, they do that. But, it's all enlightenment and taking another step forward. And sometimes you go back and then you go 20 steps forward. Just keep it going. Keep thinking it and moving. As my daughter says, she said this, she texted me the other day. She said, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm working today. Keep on trucking, Mom. Just keep on trucking. And that, it rings in my head because that's what I do. I keep on trucking.
You have 5 dogs.
Oh, yeah, I have 5 dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah, 5 dogs. Well,
A huge part of this house.
yeah, dogs are a part of it. Yeah, and my kids love dogs too, so... My husband doesn't believe they should sleep with you, but I do.
All 5?
Not all 5. One snores too loud. But they're all beauties. Yeah.
Who is your fan base?
I think I have a wide fan base from young to old, and I don't know if that's because of Charlie's Angels or the movies, but gosh, I really don't know. I know that people do all this testing, and I know people could answer that, but I think it's a pretty wide demographic. Yeah. Do you know, Clarine?
35 to 60.
35 to
Equal
60.
men to women.
Mm-hmm.
Equal.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. And what do people say to you when they see you on the street?
Oh, what do they say? All different things, but,
So what's your proudest achievement?
My children. My family. My background. My values. But my children, I'm so lucky, and just, I had the best parents.
What's your biggest regret?
Oh, God. I never like to talk about regret, really, because I think it steals from the present. Well, I mean, we all have regret, but regret.
Okay, moving on.
Yeah. Yeah, regret. Well, anytime, well, I can't tell you, I'll start crying. You know? I mean, there's some regret, but it's not something that's, you know, I don't know, just it's emotional regret, really, you know, that you wish you'd have done something a little different. But in general, I've been surrounded with love all my life, and I've given love to my loved ones all my life. So when you have that, you're ahead of the game. Do you want more of it? Yeah. I mean, you just can't help it. You want it. You don't want to part with it.
Definitely. What advice would you give to an aspiring actor?
Work hard. Train yourself. It's not an overnight thing. You need to have the proper teachers. You need to seek the criticism. You need to explore life. You need to observe people. You need to understand that this is a craft. This is not, boom, I'm going to be in a movie and be good, or I got my first role. You need to train. It's truly about the work and being aware of who you are, and train in every way, from voice to, you know, being body aware, to your look, to your every bit of your demeanor.
How do you think the business has changed
Oh,
since you started?
drastically. I mean, if we're talking television, there were 3 networks now. There's cable. You can go, I mean, there's something for everyone. I don't even know what to watch. And with my husband, he's going, boom, 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 oh, what, you know, I just want to stick to one. But there's too many choices. I mean, film has changed in the sense, I mean, it's, you know, all these superheroes and, you know, the... what is it called? Help me. You know, I like a story. I like a script. I don't want people flying off buildings, landing and coming back to life. You know, or drama or romantic. I just like a story with real people, and we see less and less of that. It's superheroes. It's escapism into the, you know, Twilight Zones and all that. Anyway, I know they're popular, but what I like is that, I mean, I was like, the last movie I saw was Lincoln. Again, it's history. Let's have some history. Let's inspire young people. I think the media is biased today. I think it's slanted. I think we don't get a clear view of what's out there, not just in politics, but maybe in a review of a film or a play, or it can be destroyed in a second. You know, you know, you said, what did your parents give you? Well, my dad gave me fairness, and I just like a fair view of things. I like people to look at things in an unbiased way. The film industry, is there ageism? You know what, where I think, forgetting actors with ageism, because I haven't really felt it. I mean, I move on with the times, and whatever's to be is to be, because I've kept working. But directors and cinematographers who could light magic and direct, you know, whoever, the Meryl Streeps, they, you know, sort of, okay, no, they've done their thing and they're bringing in new people, but sometimes that's not fair, because these people have something to offer. And I think that's the only thing, you know, there's not a lot left to the imagination today in film. I mean, there's great movies, let's face it. There'll always be great movies. But I think for young people, and it's not just in film, it's in what they, you know, it's their texting, the stories in the eyes. They need to communicate. They need to talk. They don't need to send a message by email or texting. I mean, I'm glad to get them from my kids, but I really want to be eye to eye. So I think that, just, that's changed everything. You know, these kids are on computers and they're watching movies on computers. And, you know, hey, you know, there's something to say about progress and we must always move forward. But we almost keep our hands on, you know, what made the film industry great, too.
Definitely. And finally, where do you see yourself in 10 years?
Well, I hope I'm going to have some grandchildren and start all over again. And, you know, still working. I think I'll always work, whether it be design, maybe going into different type of roles, maybe going back to the stage, which I'm kind of afraid of, doing over homes. I'm going to be active. I'm pretty, you know, I hardly sit, you know, or, you know, with my kids doing something. What could be better than to start something with your children and sort of see them go in a different direction? My son's in camera. He's on a series now. My daughter is certified in yoga. You know, she's very fashion-oriented, so who knows? I don't know, you know. I don't know which direction, but I think your best team would be to surround yourself with your family, and then you get to see them all the time, and that would be fun.
Well, thank you very much for your time
Thank
today. It
you.
was really an honor to
Thank
speak
you.
with you.
Thank you. I hope we did it.